Fernando.
How are you? John Man.
Checking in. They'll make it quick.
Well, they're going to be quick. That's going to,
They're fourth.
yeah, therefore.
Yeah, but
I told them they need a light right there. Kind of dark. So I can see it. I brought my glasses too.
TV right there. That's where it is.
Might have to continue.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. March 15th, yeah. Yeah, the next day after that would be April 26th. Okay. Oh, good. Okay, so can I? Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Compost.
That's the park outside. Nation. Boy, he's really catch one today.
Audio test, testing 1, 2, 3. Audio test, testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer with the Board of Public Works for today, Friday, February 17, 2023. We should get started in the next 4 minutes. Apologies for the delay this morning. Just to confirm those individuals that are listening to us through the Zoom platform, Greg, Vandergriff, I'm going to just pick on you, and if you can just confirm that you can hear us on the Zoom platform.
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you, Greg, and we can hear you loud and clear as well. Thank you very much, and good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you.
Quick roll call for presenters for today. For item number 1, we have Ronaldo Saldivar on item number 1. Item number 2 will be presented by Brian Powell. Item number 3, Christian Guerrero. Item 4, Michael Cox and John Menix. That was item number 4. Item number 5, Ian Monte. Item number 6, Doug Irvin. Item number 7, no presenter required. Item number 8, no presenter required. Item number 9, Paul Bigeman. And item number 10, Erica Blyther. Those are the roll call for the presenters for today's agenda. For those Bureau representatives that are joining us through the Zoom platform this morning, thank you for joining us, Greg Vandergriff, Nick Lopez, Georgia Spindola, and Richard Sarangumba. Should the board have any questions for your Bureau, we will open up those audio lines for you at that time. At this time, I'm going to identify any callers on the line that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. If you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9 or click the raise hand icon if you wish to speak under general public comment or any of the items for today's agenda. If you're joining us here live at City Hall in Chambers, there are speaker cards located at the back end of the room. If you can fill that out and hand that over to me, that would be great. Again, this is for general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. Last call for any members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. If you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9, click the raise hand icon if you're joining us through the Zoom application, or hand in a speaker card if you're here live in person in City Hall. Seeing no hands raised, let's go ahead and start testing our microphones in the room. Good morning to you, President Garcia. We do have Commissioner Reyes out on an excused absence for city business, and Dr. Davis is running a little late. However, we do have 3 commissioners in the room, and we can get started whenever you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Perfect. President Garcia, you are now in record mode.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Friday, February 17, 2023. Dr. Campos?
Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing roll call and quorum for this morning. We have President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, and Commissioner Corzan. President Garcia, you do have a quorum. For the record, Commissioner Reyes is on an excused absence on city business, and Dr. Davis is running a little late and will join us as soon as he arrives. President Garcia, at this time, we do not have any callers under general public comment. We also do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comments section, and no comments or no speakers for any of the items for today's agenda as well.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. Campos. Given that there are no public comments now officially closed. Moving on to the first item on today's business, which is the approval of the minutes for Friday, February 3rd, 2023. Is there a second to my motion to approve the item?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to move the approval of the minutes for Friday, February 3rd, 2023.
Absolutely. We'll start the roll call and tabulation. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
And Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning to those that are here and those that are joining us virtually. Happy Friday. We are officially mid-February of 2023, so nice to be here, everyone. We're going to go along, since we don't have any public comments, we're going to move right along of our agenda items in chronological order. First item on today's business is a request from the Bureau of Engineering, Council District 5. Street closures, Wilshire Boulevard between Spalding Avenue and Crescent Heights Boulevard, West Side Purple Line Extension, Project Section 1, Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority. And this morning we have Mr. Saldivar here. Welcome. Sir, I'm not going to read all the recommendations. There's 1 through 9. I'm only going to read 8 and 9 because those are, the official times will be closing some of these streets, so just making sure. But then I need you to provide the rest of the other presentations. So give me 1 second, and let me read into the record. Recommendation 8, approve the Metro's and its contractor, Skansa Trailer Shia, a joint venture, request dated February 6, 2023, to temporarily close Wilshire Boulevard between Spalding Avenue and Crescent Heights Boulevard for 5 consecutive weekends, beginning February 17, 2023, at 9 p.m. to March 20, 2023, at 6 a.m. And 9, approve the Metro's and STSJV's request dated February 6, 2023, for PM peak hour exemptions on Wilshire Boulevard between Spalding Avenue and Crescent Heights Boulevard on Fridays between 3:30 p.m. and 7 p.m., beginning February 17, 2023, and ending March 17, 2023. And this morning, again, we have Mr. Saldivar here. Welcome, sir.
Hello. Just to understand, you want me to read the other ones? Is that?
No, I just need you to make sure that you identify the other ones.
Yeah, those are correct. Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Reynaldo Saldivar. I'm with the Bureau of Engineering's Metro Transit Division. This is for the West Side Purple Line Extension Section 1 project, which extends the Purple Line subway from its existing terminus at the Wilshire Western Station to the west 3.9 miles along Wilshire Boulevard to construct 3 new stations at Wilshire La Brea, Wilshire Fairfax, and Wilshire La Cienega, which is in the city of Beverly Hills. The street closure request before you is associated with the Wilshire Fairfax station. Metro and their contractor, STSJV, are requesting a temporary street closure of Wilshire Boulevard between Spalding Avenue and Crescent Heights Boulevard for approximately 5 weekends, starting on February 17th and ending on March 20th. And this is to facilitate the temporary decking removal and street restoration work associated with the future Wilshire Fairfax station. Previously, this board had adopted a series of 13 non-consecutive weekend street closures at the same location, which started on October 7th, 2022, and ended on February 13th, 2023. Unfortunately, Metro and their contractor were unable to complete the planned work during the weekends previously approved by the board due to weather-related impacts. So Metro and their contractor are now requesting 5 additional weekend street closures to complete the work. Included within the requested 5 weekend closures are 3 additional weekends for contingency, in addition, in anticipation of possible future rain events. All major submittals associated with the work to be performed during this closure have been approved by BOE. LADOT has reviewed and approved the worksite traffic control plans for the proposed closure and does not anticipate that this proposed work will result in any new substantial traffic impacts. Additionally, we have our Traffic Management Committee, which continues to review traffic impacting permits to help minimize any conflicts with ongoing construction activities in the vicinity of this closure. As a part of BOE's review of the requested street closure, our Environmental Management Group has reviewed the environmental documentation associated with the street closure, and the recommendations in the report should fulfill the board's obligation under CEQA. Council District 5 has also indicated their support for this street closure request. And in addition, Metro's public relations team has performed public outreach for this closure and has scheduled virtual meetings for stakeholders affected by this closure. This concludes my report. We have staff here from BOE, LADOT, Metro, and the contractor STS available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Saldivar, and welcome to the Metro team. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for being here. Colleagues, any questions on this item? Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. Just have a quick question. You mentioned that District 5 was notified. Was that prior to the change?
Afterwards, I believe.
I'm sorry?
Afterwards? Like,
Okay.
after they knew that they needed to request the additional 5 days, they were notified, and then concurrence was received.
Okay. That was all. Thank you.
Clarification, current CD5 is
Yes.
aware and is supportive of the closures.
Yeah, Councilmember Yaroslavsky's office, we have email from Jared Thompson. He's provided concurrence for this closure.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much. Any other questions, colleagues? Seeing none, I don't think we have any problems. Like always, we want to make sure that you don't come on the day of, and I think we're at it again, so I just want to make sure that we don't do this again. I know this is important, but we've been saying this for like a year, maybe or so. We don't want it to be on the day of. It gives us no buffer if we have any actions against it. So if for any chance we were to say no today, or I don't know, we haven't even started the deliberation on that part, it's right on the date, so it doesn't give us any time. So I'm going to say it again to Metro's team and to you, sir, to please bring us these closures a couple days before, a week before would be ideal. We're at it, we're back here again. Today's February 17th, and you're asking for a closure starting today. So I'm going to ask that you guys take into consideration our time as well, and if we had questions and if we just didn't want to do it, this wouldn't have happened. So I just want to say, please do not put us in this situation again.
Understood.
Thank you. All right, colleagues, hearing I don't see any other questions, comments, objections. Seeing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 1 forward and forthwith?
So move.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Dr. Campos, there's a first by VP Villegas and a second by Commissioner Corson to move item number 1 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. Let's start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
and Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank
you.
you, everyone. Have a good rest of the weekend. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 2. This is a request in Council District 14. A task order solicitation number 64, Stantec Consulting Services, Inc., pre-qualified on-call consultants list, Lincoln Park Neighborhood Green Street Network Project. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the city engineer to issue the task to Stantec Consulting Services, Inc., from the pre-qualified on-call wastewater and environmental engineering services consultants list to provide pre-design, design, bid, and award support and design services during construction for the Lincoln Park Neighborhood Green Street Network Project as stated in task order number 64 with a budget authority of $1,885,750, including contingency. And this morning we have Mr. Powell here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, President Garcia. Good morning, Board Commissioners. Good morning, Bureau Representatives. My name is Brian Powell. I'm a Senior Civil Engineer with the Bureau of Engineering's Clean Water Division. I'm here today with my colleague Sean Fan from the Bureau of Sanitation. We are here today to request that the board authorize the award of task order solicitation number 64 to Stantec Consulting Services from the pre-qualified on-call wastewater and environmental engineering services consultant list to provide pre-design, design, bid and award, and design services during construction. This is for the Lincoln Park Neighborhood Green Street Network Project with a budget authority of $1,885,750, including contingency. The Lincoln Park project is located in Council District 14 in the Lincoln Heights area. This project proposes approximately 3 miles of new Green Street improvements, including 46 dry wells, 500 street trees, 16 vegetated center medians, and 1,100 parkway planters. In addition to the Green Street improvements, this project proposes to improve the existing lake by dredging accumulated sediment, repairing or replacing the existing lake edge, boat ramps, aeration system, recirculation system, fountain jets, pump house, control systems, and other miscellaneous mechanical and electrical components. Also, new improvements to the lake include bioswales, a California native garden, and educational signage. In total, the goal of the project is to improve water quality in the lake and also capture approximately 77 acre-feet of runoff annually from a watershed area of 195 acres in the upper LA River watershed. The estimated construction budget for this project is $13,063,834. The scope of work in the task order solicitation to Stantec includes services for pre-design, design, bid and award, design services during construction, and community outreach and engagement. To cover the business inclusion program, for the minority business enterprise, the city's goal is 18%. Stantec is pledging 19.91%. For women's business enterprise, the city's goal is 4%. Stantec is pledging 10.1%. For small business enterprise, the city's goal is 25%. Stantec is pledging 32.35%. For emerging business enterprise, the city's goal is 8%. Stantec is pledging 18.77%. For disabled veterans business enterprise, the city's goal is 3%. Unfortunately, they were not able to. They're pledging 0%, and they were not able to make that goal. To cover funding, this project is funded by the Measure W Safe Clean Water Program. The project was approved by the County Board of Supervisors on September 15th, 2021, to be included in the Stormwater Investment Plan for Measure W Round 2 regional funding. Subsequently, this board authorized LA Sanitation to execute a regional transfer agreement with LA County Flood Control District on December 15th of 2021. The report approving the transfer agreement is attached as transmittal number 1 to this report. The city is set to receive a total of $18,634,580 from the county in 5 equal cash flows. The city has already received and appropriated the first year of funding for $3.7 million. That was in fiscal year 21 and 22, and we are set to receive another $3.7 million this fiscal year. The remainder will be received in 3 equal amounts of $3.7 million in fiscal year 24-25, 25-26, and 26-27. To conclude, we recommend that the board authorize the city engineer to issue task order solicitation number 64 to Stantec. This is for the Lincoln Park Neighborhood Green Street Network project with a budget authority for the TOS of $1,885,750, including contingency. That concludes my report, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Powell, on that thorough report that you just provided. Any questions, colleagues? Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. Thank you for your report, always thorough. I'm just wondering, on the pre-qualified list, how many folks were on your pre-qualified list and how many folks responded?
The pre-qualified list, I believe, has approximately 24 consultants. We interviewed 3 consultants. The 3 consultants were Stantec, Tetra Tech, and Atkins, and we chose Stantec.
Okay. And this was, excuse me for my question, from what list? Is this engineering services, design services?
It's the wastewater and environmental pre-qualified on-call list.
Okay. And you received 3 bids?
Correct.
Or 3 responses?
Correct. 3 proposals, one from Stantec, one from Tetra Tech, and Atkins.
Okay, sorry, I know my questions sound repetitive.
No worries.
All right, and we are indeed going to give this to Stantec, so this is going to be their perhaps 4th contract for this list?
I'm not, I can't speak to the entire list, but from our division in the Clean Water Division, Stantec does have at least 2 contracts that I'm aware of.
Okay.
There are multiple divisions in the Bureau of Engineering that utilize the wastewater and environmental on-call list.
Of course. All right. And they are going to be charging 1.8 for their services. And I appreciate it. I mean, this is a project that went through my board for the Upper LA River watershed. I'm glad that it's coming to fruition. So that is all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. I don't see any other lights on. I have just maybe one question and then just some for the record. What is the timeline on this project?
So the total schedule for the project from the beginning of pre-design to the end of construction is approximately 5 years. We have a believe it's a 6-month pre-design phase, about a 14-month design phase. It takes about 6 months for bid and award. And we're estimating at this point about a 2-year construction contract. So from start to finish, approximately 5 years.
Okay. So we're looking at from now into 2 years from now, construction will begin, about.
About 2 years.
Okay.
2.5 years.
Got it. And just for the record, I just want to highlight that we are planning to plant 500 street trees.
That is the scope that was included in the original concept report, which is the basis of the task order solicitation. You know, the scope in the concept reports don't always, is not 100%, you know, what gets installed at the end of the day. Sometimes, depending on the budget or depending on the space available for the trees, that could definitely change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although that's a really nice number, to be honest with you. So
It
if
is.
we can
We're gonna
maintain it
go
or
for it.
keep it at that level, that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay, in 2 years from now, we'll talk about the 500 trees.
2 years from now, we should have a much better idea with the completed designs, yes.
Okay, understood. Thank you, Mr. Powell. Dr. Davis?
Yeah, thank you. Wanted to know, what does the opportunity for small businesses look like now and over the life of the project?
Well, specifically for this contract, for the small business enterprise, the city's anticipated participation levels, or our goal, is 25%, and Stan Tech is pledging 32.3%.
Great, thank you.
So there's those opportunities, and of course, there will be future opportunities for construction contracts, but that's a few years away from now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. All right, I don't see any other questions on the queue. Any objections, colleagues? See none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 2 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, VP Villegas. Is there a second? Thank you, Dr. Davis. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Vice President Villegas and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 2 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas,
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis,
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan,
Aye.
and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Powell. We look forward to this project coming together.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 3. Give me a second here. Item number 3 in Council District 4, construction budget and construction change orders, Tomovic and Associates, super expedited wastewater emergency rehabilitation for sewers program, Crescent Drive project. Recommending the board to, 1, authorize the construction budget of $215,692.10, including contingency for the super expedited wastewater emergency rehabilitation for sewers program, Crescent Drive. And 2, authorize the city engineer to issue a revised construction order and change orders up to the authorized construction budget for this project. And this morning, we have Mr. Christian Guerrero. Good morning, sir. Good to see you again.
Good morning, Commissioners. As President stated, my name is Christian Guerrero. I'm with the Bureau of Engineering Wastewater Conveyance Construction Division, and I'm here to request the board to approve the construction budget and issue revised construction orders and change orders to Tomovich and Associates for the Super Expedited Wastewater Emergency Rehabilitation for Sewers Program, Crescent Drive 2500 project, and to authorize a construction budget of $215,692.10, including contingency, and to authorize the city engineer to issue revised construction orders and change orders up to that authorized construction budget. LA Sanitation issued an urgent expedite request on November 15, 2021. This was to remove and replace the existing 6-inch concrete sewer pipe due to fractures, corrosion, and heavy root intrusion on Crescent Drive between Vasanto Way and Quebec Drive as shown in Figure 1. The original scope of work was to remove the existing 6-inch pipe and replace it with a new 8-inch vitrified clay pipe and restore 3 house connections. The reach, though, was located beneath a steep hillside with significant amount of erosion that contained railroad ties and stabilizers to prevent any additional erosion on that slope. Due to this hillside condition, the project scope was revised as shown in Figure 2. On Figure 1, you can see that the image of the original scope, and it shows the line underneath an unstable slope. Attempting to remove and replace the sewer reach in its existing location would further erode the slope. And in Figure 2, it shows the new alignment away from the slope, which is a safer approach. The project now will abandon the existing 6-inch pipe and construct 2 new 8-inch vitrified clay pipes totaling 177 linear feet, remodel the upstream and downstream maintenance hole bases, and reconnect the 3 house connection laterals that will be connected to this new 8-inch reach. The majority of all this work is being performed under the Sewer 7 bid items, but 20% of the scope of work is non-bid item work, and that's due to relocating one existing lateral to this new alignment. The project's original schedule work and prices estimate was generated with applicable fixed prices and calculated quantities. Matthew and Stewart Company was actually the lowest bidder at $59,950, but since they already had 7 active projects in the Sewer 7 program at the time, the original construction order was then awarded to Tomovich and Associates for the amount of $64,760. The revised scope of work was estimated with the fixed price bid items and the agreed price for the non-bid item work, and the total estimated is $179,692.10, with a contingency of $36,000 for a total construction authority of $215,692.10. The Bureau of Engineering staff recommends the board to approve a construction budget in excess of the city engineer's authority and to authorize the city engineer to issue revised construction orders and change orders for the project for a not to exceed construction budget of $215,692.10. And with that, this concludes my presentation, and I can answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guerrero, for your report this morning. Any questions, colleagues? Dr. Davis?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay, no worries. Just, how come this one is considered a super expedited?
It's, when we get super expedited requests, they're usually urgent type defects that need to be addressed in these sewer pipes where we cannot wait to prolong them further and maybe try to implement them in a CIP type project just because of the urgency. In this case, when you have a 6-inch concrete pipe, the corrosion is going to continue over time. It's not going to stop. Besides 6 inches, now a smaller capacity, we don't go smaller than 8-inch. So taking these things into consideration, the Sewer 7 program was established for cases like these where you have not an emergency situation, but it also cannot really wait for a CIP project down the road. So we do have these fixed bid prices for these types of situations. And in this case, it works out pretty good by moving it to the street like we redesigned. And now it's easier to access, and we'll have a new vitrified clay pipe, which will not corrode over time.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, I don't see any questions, objections? Hearing none. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 3 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
I heard Commissioner Corson and Dr. Davis? Commissioner Reyes?
Commissioner Reyes, second.
Which one was it? Oh, second, okay. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Commissioner Corson and a second by Commissioner Reyes to move item number 3 forward and forthwith.
Yes, let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Madam Chair.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Great, thank you very much. Mr. Guerrero, you're on your way. Let's get this fixed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you.
All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 4. This is a request from the Bureau of Street Services in all council districts. This is the 2023 Weed Abatement Ordinance of Intention, recommending the board to, 1, recommend that your board, subject to city council approval, the draft Weed Abatement Ordinance of Intention for 2023 and set hearing dates as listed. And 2, request the city attorney to transmit the Weed Abatement Ordinance of Intention for 2023 approved as to form in legality to the city clerk at least 4 days prior to February 22nd, 2023. And good morning, sir.
Good morning. John Minix.
Okay, I thought so. It's not Mr. Cox. I have Mr. Cox here.
No,
John
he's here.
Minix?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay, Mr. Cox is here. All
Okay.
right, well, welcome you both.
Well, thank you. Okay, like you said, we're recommending that the board, subject to city council approval, draft the weed abatement ordinance of intention for 2023 and set the hearing dates listed herein. And 2, recommend the city attorney transmit the weed abatement ordinance of intention for 2023 approved as for legality to the city clerk at least 4 days prior to February 22nd. There was an oversight on the date, February 22nd. We need to make it March 15th. That was my mistake. So this is my first time speaking in front of people, so just want to let you know. A little nervous. Okay, as far as the recital, our dates are City Council Ordinance of Intention, 10 a.m. Wednesday, March 15th, 2023. Secondly, Board of Public Works hearing, 10 a.m. Wednesday, April 5th, 2023. And then public hearing and final ordinance before the City Council at 10 a.m. Wednesday, April 26, 2023.
Thank you, sir. Well, first and foremost, welcome. You did a great job. You don't look nervous at all. You're just standing there just looking good.
Thank you for being nice.
All right, well, do we have any questions, colleagues? Vice President Villegas?
I just have a question, and you don't have to answer this today. You can probably go back to your office and get me the answers. But wondering, this weed abatement in ordinance of intention is for the entire city, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we do this for keeping our public right-of-ways clear?
Yeah, this weed.
Ted has clarification.
Well, I think I've been working on the weed abatement matter for a long time. So it's an annual process typically. The abatement that will be directed by the city council is for private property, typically vacant lots.
Yes.
And so it's not the public right of way, and the process we're starting to follow now through this first step will result in 2 different ordinances being adopted by the city council. Each of those ordinances will have a listing of various parcel numbers throughout the city, all 15 council districts, presumably. And those properties will be the ones subject to the abatement process. Property owners are given notice of this through things that the Bureau will mail. They have the opportunity to abate or clean up their vacant lots on their own. Should they not avail themselves of that opportunity, then the lot cleaning division will go in and take care of that work, and the cost of that work will be put onto the property owner's property tax. I believe that's how they do it.
Yes.
This step is the first of several public meetings that will afford transparency in the process, and property owners will have the opportunity to come before the board and the city council to object and explain why. Typical situations, I'm just telling you historically that have come up, is we do this process based on the property ownership records that we have available to us. Sometimes, you know, in the city the size of Los Angeles, property owners are flipping and being sold. And so sometimes there are property owners who buy the property right when this process is happening, and they didn't necessarily receive the notification. So the process that we're starting here will allow those property owners, if that's the reason or any other reason, to explain why they shouldn't have the cost of this abatement put onto their property tax. So I'm sorry for the long-winded explanation.
That's okay. I'm very familiar with it. That's the same manner
Okay.
in which the County of Los Angeles treats their weed abatement program as well. And also get to see addresses that are being impacted where homeowners or property owners don't necessarily clear up their lots. I understand that. My further question, and I don't know if our city attorney will answer this or provide more context, is this another path that we can enforce for the unhoused sometimes that are on vacant lots that look abandoned?
I can speak to that. So this is really not that process. This would not really.
However, I mean, we did, sorry to interrupt you. I'm just going to go on the record here. We did have Councilmember Price's office on Wednesday come to us, and that was also a issue of nonconformance by the property owner. And perhaps I'm conflating here, but I see a nexus. That's why I'm asking this question.
No, I understand. There is a similarity in that in both instances, you have something that will be declared as a public nuisance with the city then, if the nuisance isn't debated voluntarily, the city will step in. So there are similarities in the process. I think the similarities arise because in both instances, state laws are being followed that allow the city to put the cost of that abatement onto the property owner.
Correct.
But the nature of the public nuisance is different, and that's why in the process that is currently playing out in Council District 9, it's a specific resolution adopted by the City Council in accordance with a different administrative code section, that's 7.35.2. Here, it's a code section that relates specifically to the types of nuisance that we have here, the weeds and the rubbish on the property.
I understand.
Compared to so it's a very similar process, but they each have their own procedures,
I
which
understand.
have similar steps.
Yeah.
Okay,
Perhaps
and the other difference is that particular lot, it wasn't on ordinance yet. That's why we had to do that, the emergency, the notice of violation. Once we do the notice of violation, we then add them, put an ad slip in, we add them to the ordinance, so they'll get year-round notices to clean. And what we do, normally what we do is, once they get the notices, they get a courtesy notice first, and then they'll get one later on at a different date with the compliance date. If they don't follow, they don't do the cleaning within that compliance date, then we can then go on to that property legally, clean it, and then we'll charge it to their property taxes.
Correct.
So that's how it normally works. But this particular thing that went last week was a different situation.
Okay. I'm
Well,
just trying
last
to,
month, yeah.
I'm just trying to shine the light on perhaps it's another tool that our city family can all use to address some of these issues. Thank you.
Okay, any more questions?
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Any other questions or comments, colleagues? Seeing none, I just want to clarify that we are amending the second request, right? Second recommendation, which is we're changing from February 22nd to March 15th of 2023.
Yes, that was an oversight on my part.
No problem, no worries. Okay, I don't see any other questions, concerns, or objections. Hearing none. Is there a motion at the table to move item number 4 forward and forthwith as amended?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Commissioner Davis and a second by Commissioner Corson to move item number 4 forward and forthwith as amended.
Thank you. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great.
Thank
Thank
you,
you very
Dr.
much, sir. You did great. Look forward to seeing you more often now. Moving on to item number 5. This is a joint report by Bureau of Contract Administration and the Bureau of Engineering in Council District 14. Contract acceptance, South District Sewer Maintenance Yard. Recommending the board to 1, accept this contract, 2, do not assess Ford EC Inc. with liquidated damages in the amount of $68,350.10 for noncompliance of the local apprentice hiring goals as discussed in this report. And 3, instruct the Director of Office of Accounting to release the remaining $68,350.10 from the project fund to FEC as discussed in this report. This morning, we have Mr. Ian Monte. I'm not saying you're Monte, yes.
Yes.
Good morning, sir. Good to see you.
Same here. Good morning to all of you. Ian Monte, representing the Bureau of Contract Administration, and I am here to discuss the acceptance of the South District Sewer Maintenance Yard project. If you will indulge me a little bit, because I'm going to talk about some of the technical pieces of the project, and then I'm going to get into the portion of the project labor agreement where the recommendations number 2 and 3 spawn. And I want to walk the board through the thought process of how we ultimately came up with the recommendations to provide to the board. So first off, again, we have the South District Sewer Maintenance Yard, and this contract was executed by the board on June 16, 2016 in the amount of $7,550,000. The construction, or the contract number was C as in Charles, dash 127789, bond number 166751, and this project was completed on February 14th, 2020 by, again, 40C, and I'll refer to them repeatedly as 40C. I'm just going to get a little technical in terms of what the project is for those that are not aware. This project consisted of the demolition of approximately 14,000 square feet of an existing garage and other facilities at the maintenance yard located on Slauson Avenue within Council District 14, and in its place, a new building of approximately 8,500 square feet replaced those structures that were torn down. The new site layout also features more efficient parking and a vehicular circulation appropriate for large trucks that traditionally traverse the location. And as a whole, the site is about 38,000 square feet in size and complies with the American with Disabilities Act. This project was awarded, again, for $7,550,000 with a contingency of $755,000, giving a total authorized budget of $8,305,000. 59 change orders were issued, increasing the contract amount by $753,093, bringing the total cost of the project to $8,303,093. The project was completed at 9.97% above the awarded amount and 0.02% below its authorized budget. Good for them. The contractor has complied with the equal employment opportunity requirements of the contract. Additionally, this contract was awarded with the bidder's pledge of 3.67% minority business enterprise, otherwise known as MBE, 0.00% WBE, women business enterprise, otherwise known as WBE, 26.64% small business enterprise, otherwise known as SBE, 9.37% EBE, emerging business enterprises, otherwise known as EBE, 0.00%, which is disadvantaged veteran business enterprises, and finally 50.48% of other business enterprises, otherwise known as OBE. And the reason I'm saying those acronyms is because I'm going to use them a couple more times. The actual participation levels that were achieved on the project at completion were 3.49%, MBE, 0.05% WBE, 23.35% SBE, 6.83% EBE, 0.00% DVBE, and 26.68% OBE. The mandatory subcontracting minimum requirement for this project was 25%, and the contract was awarded with the bidder's pledge of 48.75%, and the actual participation level achieved was 54.53% after deducting $153,678 of fixed cost items paid to the contractor from the total cost of the project. So again, those are the technical aspects of the project at completion. And now what we really want to do is talk about the project labor agreement targeted hiring achievements and lack thereof as it relates to the recommendations that we made. Now, when we're talking about this, what we want to make sure that we're always staying rooted in is the Public Works Infrastructure Stabilization Policy, because this policy is what it expresses how the PLA is going to be both implemented and enforced. And so everything that the Bureau of Contract Administration did to assess the efforts of 40C on this project are rooted in that policy. And so when we look at the project, where on a 30% local hire, 50% local apprentice, and 10% transitional worker goals respectively, the project achieved 38% local hire, which is above the 30%, 38% local apprentice, which again is below the threshold and did result in the liquidated damages, and 14% transitional, which is above the 10% threshold. And so as we walked Fort EC through this, the first meeting we had with Fort EC was held on July 7th, which was in advance of construction starting on July 11th, which is our pre-construction meeting. And this is the meeting that we sit down with Fort EC, and not just a foreman on the project or superintendent, but we sat down with the vice president of the organization, and we go through line by line of exactly what compliance looks like with the PLA. And we did that, and Fort EC acknowledged that, and we started the project again on July 12th. From that point all the way until June 2017, at about 37% construction completion, this project was completely meeting all three of the PLA targeted hiring requirements. However, during the week of June 26, 2017, and this is around about 37% completion, we saw the first dip for our local apprentice going from 51% down to 47%. And so at this point, the project analysts had 7 meetings with Fort EC, including 3 progress meetings, a progress meeting at 50% completion, 70% completion, 90% completion, along with 4 other meetings, and requested 2 recovery plans, which are transmittal numbers 2 and 3 of this particular board report, and also provided Fort EC with 4 liquidated damages letters, which are transmittal numbers 4 through 7 on this particular board report. And we did these meetings and we interacted with Fort EC these many times from July 2017 through December of 2018. So upon the project, basically the work hours essentially being done, and we started just to look at the policy, again, because that's what governs everything that we do. And we started to look at what their efforts were on this project. And some of the things that really stood out to us, and these were the 3 factors that we really considered when we were making the penalty recommendation, because calculated liquidated damages we have to do, because again, that's in the policy that I just spoke of. But in terms of the recommendations of whether or not to recommend that the board enforce them or not apply them, we took a look at 3 particular factors with Fort EC. The first factor was we found that there was no evidence of Fort EC and their failure to achieve the 50% local apprentice hours mark, that it was done willfully or with a blatant disregard for the policy or to do the hours. This project was meeting the goal until close to 40%. It was in full compliance. We were able to specifically identify local apprentices that were hired onto the project. And we actually identified that Fort EC sponsored 6 workers into union apprenticeship programs, including 5 local workers, 2 of which were also certified as transitional workers. Additionally, the project as a whole had 58 first-period apprentices, including 31 local apprentices, 16 of which were certified as transitional workers. So that alone shows that, again, in accordance with the policy, which in Section 6, it identifies what the roles and responsibilities of the prime contractor is. This is their effort to achieve and comply with the policy. The second thing that the Bureau looked at was Fort EC's extensive prior history working as a prime contractor on the Department of Public Works PLA projects. The board report speaks to, and there's a chart on page 9 of the board report, it speaks to Fort EC being the prime on these projects, and Other than the project we're talking about today, the other 7 projects as a whole, they were in full PLA compliance. Additionally, we looked at 4DC's individual efforts as the prime contractor. What did they actually do? And on every project except one, which is not this project, it was on the North Central Animal Services Center project, they achieved full PLA compliance. On the North Central Animal Services Center project, they achieved 58% local hire, unfortunately 48% local apprentice, and 26% transitional worker percentage compliance with the PLA, which resulted in $1.6 million of wages being reinvested back into the city. And the reason I bring that up is I'm going to bring that up a little bit later to show on this particular project how that comes into play. So again, you're talking about going based again on the policy, a contractor who has done their part repeatedly with our projects to hit these marks. Finally, we took a look at the liquidated damages itself. And the liquidated damages, by way of the policy, it's calculated by either $500 per day that the project falls short of compliance or the average journey person wage that would have been earned on the project. Well, here, the reason that this project was not in compliance was because of an apprentice wage. So we took a look at, with the hours that were missed of the goal, what would the apprentice hours or the wages have been? And we came to $43,551.28 as to local apprentice wages that were not invested. But in doing that math, we took a look at the fact that Ford EC had 38% compliance with local hire on a 30% goal. So we calculated that 8%. What was that number? That number that Ford EC reinvested was $207,000, $152.08, a difference of $163,600.80 of total reinvestment back into the city, even with unfortunately hitting this goal. 4DC also hired a jobs coordinator, a third-party jobs coordinator, if I will, which also is outlined in terms of what their roles and responsibilities are in the policy that I referred to. And their jobs coordinator did their outreach. I'll talk about that should questions arise, because I know that I'm running a little long here. But ultimately, when we looked at the totality of what 4DC's efforts were as it relates to the policy that we have in place, we felt that their efforts were more than quality from the standpoint of, while the liquidated damages has to be assessed, we felt that the recommendation again was to not assess the penalty to them. So with that being said, the Office of Contract Compliance, the Labor Compliance Section, reviewed its files and confirmed that there are no other labor compliance issues related to this project that are pending. There are no unresolved property owners' complaints in connection with this project, and the contractor performance evaluation reports have been submitted to the Bureau of Contract Administration as required for compliance with the Los Angeles Administrative Code. So based again on all of this information, we are asking that the boards accept this contract and to adopt the recommendations set forth. Thank you for this very long presentation. Forgive me, just as a long board report, and I am available for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ian. You always have very compelling presentations. Any questions, colleagues? Commissioner Corson.
I have no questions. I just want to acknowledge the level of detail and work in this report. It proves that you and the Bureau take project labor agreements very seriously, and I think that's a priority for us as board members too. So I just wanted to verbally acknowledge and appreciate the level of detail that you provided.
If I may take a point of privilege, thank you for that. The analyst for this project is Teresa Jimenez, who's sitting right here to the left, and was going to take a vacation day, and she says, nah, I'd rather come and see this at the board. And I just want to acknowledge her efforts, because it was primarily her work that led to all of this. And so I just wanted to publicly acknowledge you. So thank you.
Thank you for your work, ma'am. Appreciate it. It was very thorough and a very researched to make sure that we were fair, and that's what we always strive for here at the board. So thank you for that. I don't see any other questions or comments on this item. Any objections? No, we really appreciate you having an eye on PLA. PLA is a very important piece of what we do here, and we really want to make sure that our contractors out there follow what we've put in place, our policy. And thank you, Ian, for not only making sure that contractors follow it, but when there's a point like this one in the discrepancy, that you were able to see kind of the high altitude view of this and make sure that we were fair. And so I just want to make sure I commend you and Ms. What was your last name? Ms. Jimenez. Thank you for your work on that. I really do appreciate it. That's really want to make sure that we continue to be this way.
Thank you.
All right. So I don't hear any objections on this item. Is there a motion on the table to move item number 5 forward and forthwith?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Davis. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Dr. Davis and a second by Vice President Villegas to move item number 5 forward and forthwith.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation now. We'll start with you, President Garcia.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ian. Have a good weekend. It's always good to have you here. All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 6. This is a request from the Bureau of Engineering and Council District 13, bid extension for the North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 15 Petite Court to Marsh Street project, recommending the board to 1, grant an extension of the bid date from February 22nd, 2023 to March 15, 2023, and 2, advise all prospective bidders of the board's action by addendum. And this morning, we have Mr. Doug Irvine. How could I forget? We were just talking. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, President, commissioners, and board members. As President Garcia has said, my name is Doug Irvin. I'm here presenting the motion to the Board of Public Works requesting that a extension of the bid for the North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 15 project be extended from February 22nd, 2023 to March 15th, 2023, and to have the city engineer advise that all the prospective bidders that the board's action by an addendum of this extension. A little bit about this North Outfall Sewer Unit 15 project. Back in January 11th of 2023, we came to the board requesting that this project be advertised. And we went out with the project with a city engineer's estimate of $22,560,340. This is a large, difficult project. And with this, we also set forth that we were looking at having the project bids received on February 22nd. As part of the project, a particular bidder had put in a request to extend the bid because of the complexity of the project. And so BOE looked at that complexity and we agreed with that, let's look at extending the project. So therefore, we generated this board motion to the board requesting extension another 3 weeks. Based on that, I'm here requesting the board for this motion for the extension. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Irvine, on that. I don't have any questions or comments, but Vice President Villegas and then Dr. Davis.
Thank you. Just wanted to put it on for the record. We're going to extend this bid till March 15th, 2023, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then I know just during my briefing, we received, or the Bureau received notification from a potential bidder out of state to extend the contract.
That is correct.
Okay, and we want to give parity to everybody who's going to be bidding, regardless if they're in-state or out, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Davis?
Yeah, for this project, in terms of the funding, is it a project that has multiple funding levels, including federal funds, or? Or is
This
it local?
particular project, I believe, is coming from the Sewer Capital Wastewater Maintenance Fund.
Got it. So it's
And
locally funded?
It's locally funded.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Davis. I don't see any other questions, comments, or concerns. Any objections? Seeing none, is there a motion on the table to move item number 6 forward and forthwith? Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Is there a second? I hear Dr. Davis. Who's going to win? I hear Dr. Davis. Everybody wants to move your motion. Dr. Campos, there's a first by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Dr. Davis to move item number 6 forward and forthwith.
Yes, let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Irvine. Nice to see you.
Thank you, President.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right, colleagues, moving on to item number 7. This does not have a speaker. It is finding to continue teleconference meetings pursuant to Assembly Bill AB 361, recommending the board to, 1, adopt the finding and determination in accordance with AB 361, Section 3E3, that while the state of emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic, as originally proclaimed by the governor on March 4th, 2020, remains active, and/or state or local officials have imposed or recommended measures to promote social distancing, this legislative body has reconsidered the circumstances of the state of the emergency, and that the state of emergency continues to directly impact the ability of the members to meet safely in person, and/or state or local officials continue to impose or recommend measures to promote social distancing. Is there a second to my motion to adopt item number 7?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to adopt item number 7.
Yes, we'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. This allows us to continue if we need to have any virtual meetings. Okay, moving on to administrative items. This is item number 8, specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. Council District 4, North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 35, Noble Avenue to Cedros Avenue, rebid work order SZZ 13461 for an estimated amount of $16,174,940. Bid received date April 5th, 2023. Is there a second to my motion to adopt item number 8?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Dr. Campos is a first by me and a second by Commissioner Reyes to adopt item number 8.
Yes, we'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Madam President.
Aye.
Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, we're now in our oral report section, and this morning we have the status of update major upcoming street improvement projects from the Bureau of Street Service as item number 9. And Mr. Bingaman is here this morning. Good morning, sir.
Yes, filling in again.
Got the suit on and everything.
Good morning, President Garcia, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, and Dr. Campos. My name is Paul Bingaman, Superintendent with Street Renewal Division of Streets LA. And this information is being provided to keep the public informed on upcoming resurfacing projects and to minimize the impact on the community as well as delays for commuters. For additional information or concerns, you can contact our coordinating section for Street Renewal Division at 213-847-3200. There are no major street projects scheduled for the Metro or Valley regions during the week of February 19th, 2023 through February 25th, 2023. However, we will provide an update to our 22-23 pavement preservation program. During the week of February 19th through February 25th, 2023, the Valley and Metro regions will complete 12 projects for a total of 9.26 lane miles. The press releases were distributed and notifications have been issued. Streets LA has coordinated with the council offices to assist with the outreach to stakeholders. We have coordinated with the Los Angeles Department of Transportation for traffic control assistance. This information is also available on Streets LA website using the resurfacing open projects icon. This concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bingaman, on that report. Any questions, colleagues? No? Okay. All right, well, you're good to go for a Friday morning. Have a good weekend, sir.
Good afternoon, guys.
All right. Dr. Campos, item number 10, is Erica Blythe with us?
She's not in the office today, President Garcia and Commissioners. We would like to request a continuation of this item. Originally, we were thinking 1 week to Friday, February 24th. However, we do have a series of ceremonies on the 24th. So if your board would be okay with continuing this item for 2 weeks to Friday, March 3rd, 2023, that would be our request.
March 3rd works, because I believe we have March 10th, a celebration, and March 17th,
is a celebration, right?
So March 3rd is good. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Well, colleagues, given that Erica Blythe is continuing item number 10, and we will hear the Petroleum and Natural Gas Administration and Safety update on March 3rd, right, Dr. Campos?
Friday, March 3rd, yes.
Friday, March 3rd, okay. All right. Have we cleared the desk, Dr. Campos?
Yes, you have.
All right, colleagues, it is now 11:18, and this meeting is officially adjourned. Please, we'll have a short management meeting in our conference. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the day, and good weekend to everybody that was listening in.